And then the second 6 months, we got coaching, we got some help, we joined this club, and that's what made the difference. Another thing too, we figured out, and Alan's helped us learn this, a contract is not a closing. When we first started, we thought, yay, we got a contract. It's not a closing. You've got to push that thing across the finish line. And we've learned a huge amount on what we can do to make that help, happen and stuff like that. So,
I'm going to agree with Wayne also. But also, come to things like this, go to training, read as much as you can, and get somebody who knows what they're doing involved in it. My 32nd first house I bought in University Hills, $80,000. I was going to put, $10,000 carpet paint, whatever in it. Let's see, the asbestos shingles later, the water damage later, the termites where you actually push it on the wall and the whole wall moved later. $45,000 later, I finally done with the house. Now, thank God it's in University Hills, and it's worth a ton more now. And it rents like no other. But, get somebody who's experienced involved, and also contingency. Plan for what can go wrong.
I think one of the things I've actually heard from everybody is make sure that you have a good team around you. And I know that's kind of gospel here, to make sure that you've got people who know what they're doing and come alongside you and help you in that process. So that's really what we strive to do as a general contracting firm, is walk with new investors into projects to make sure that they're not going to lose their shirt, or to try to help them not lose their shirt.
Can I add a couple? Right. Marketing. Marketing, 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 marketing. Agree with that? Yeah. Marketing, 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 marketing. That's number one. Number two, focus. A lot of new investors will get on a lot of webinars and we get a lot of new shiny new pennies. And there are a lot of shiny new pennies out there. So get focused, right? You don't need all those shiny new pennies. Getting knowledge, right? Coming to these events. Networking. Even especially if you're not doing all the marketing that you need to be doing, you've got to be networking. It's critical to be able to have places to disposition properties that you got under contract, right? Because you ready, fired, aim, but you really don't want that property. Okay? Find a group of other investors. We had one investor here who bought a property off the MLS for a rental property. You get a deal and you can't get 70%, but you can get it for 85%, and you find an investor who wants a rental property and will pay you 90%. You just figured out how to make money based on building your network, building that buyer's list, building just a group of people. Partnering. I know you guys, and I have done a lot of partnering with other investors, partnering with senior investors. That will help you get your deal off. Training. Joining us at our 3-day workshop, right? You're going to get a lot of ideas. You're also going to get the networking. You're going to get the knowledge. You're going to have the knowledge. Fear. You've got to be able to release this fear. A lot of people are afraid to talk to sellers. A lot of people are afraid to talk to buyers. You need to just let that go. And you let that go through training, education, coaching and mentoring, which we talked a little about here. And it's a process. It takes time. It took Tommy 6 months, or one deal in 6 months. Phil, it took him 6 months to do his first deal, and then the next couple of days he did another 2 or 3 deals. It takes a little bit of time. Don't get burned out. Or don't say, oh, well, they told me to do this, and I sent out 100 letters and I didn't get a call. 100 letters as a real estate investor is not a statistically significant sample size, okay? You've got to do more than that, and you have to do it consistently. The minute you let that consistency go, that's the minute you lose your business. A lot of investors will get a project, right? Get that first project, and this is maybe Tommy why it took you a little while. Tommy started working on his new project. He was the general contractor, he was the chief marketer, he was the chief negotiator. He probably jackhammered the slab to go in and fix that. Don't do it all. Bring in outside people who can help you, that you can leverage. Have a good team. There are a lot of these basics, these fundamentals that you guys have to, that you've learned in life that you have to reapply to your real estate investing business. You guys are doing the right thing. I applaud you all for being here. I know we're keeping you late. Last question, and I'll open it up for you guys. Is that fair? Wicked smart ideas that you want to share with the rest of these folks. Whoever picks up the mic can go first. Wicked smart.
I think the best thing you can do for yourself is get training. That's a good place to understand not just the terminology, but get the thought process going, creativity, and come here and share your information with other people and ask questions of other people. That's why we run our special interest group, so that it's a smaller group where you can get your questions answered. We also do role playing. One of us is a good guy, the other one's a bad guy. So you can just see what it's really like when you go to the door. Okay. Training is really key.
I would say try to diversify your strategies. In a market like this where there are so few deals, you've got to take every deal that comes along. And so make sure that you're working every sort of strategy that you can in your marketing as well as in your purchase of the properties.
I like buying properties in self-directed Roth IRAs and then putting leverage in it. Make sure you know about UBIT if you do it, but and keep some extra cash because if something goes wrong, you need to have cash in your IRA. You can't go make your personal funds with it. But if you want a tax advantage, inflation hedge, if you look at where interest rates and currency is going to go in the next 20 years, hard income producing asset that appreciates with inflation and generates an income stream that appreciates with inflation. It's a great place to be. That's tax free forever. It'd be
$17 trillion.
could be specific to each situation. You need to have enough that if something goes wrong, you can fix the property, you can carry the note. Then if you put leverage in your IRA, you got to have cash reserves there in case the property goes vacant, it gets flooded, all things that can go wrong. Yeah, you need to have enough that you don't run out of money in your IRA because you can't put more money in. You can't put unlimited amounts of new money in there.
You can borrow from other people's IRA or something like that, yeah, but no, I agree. I mean, I see what you're saying. Wicked smart. Anybody else? Yeah?
Well, I want to mention something, Langston, in terms of getting help. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. I can't tell you how many times I've had a greenhorn come in, they've got themselves a deal. And there's just so much I can do to help them. I can't look at the ARV and things of that nature, but I can look at it and there's a smell test and I'm not certain that's going to work. And this poor fellow is just working his little heart out, and it goes nowhere, either because it wasn't a good opportunity from the get-go, or he messed up along the way. And that's a lot of wasted time and resources and lost opportunities. So I wanted to in terms of what Elaine's saying, I see it all the time. I don't know if it's wicked smart, but the best investment opportunity that I'm seeing is just taking over someone's mortgage. If they're in a DEFCON 1 situation, they're not looking at, I've got 5% equity, 10% equity. It's, I got to get the heck out of here. They're emotionally and psychologically resolved to the fact that they're getting the hell out. You come in, bring the loan current for 1, 2, 3 months payments, and then you're in control of that property. I think those are the absolute best that I see. If I was out there and allowed to go out there without a conflict with all y'all, that's what I would do.
Tommy, you want to add?
I guess the main thing is we haven't found the magic bullet that does everything yet. We've pretty much tried everything thinking it was the magic bullet, and it wasn't. I'd say the closest thing is the substitute, but we've tried different contracting strategies. We've used our IRA, we've used our IRA and substitute, we've used cash, private lending. We've tried it all. It all works. You just got to make it work, I guess.
Be fearless. Just I think the first thing is just to take that first step and get it started. Guys, I'm going to open it. Can we get a big round of applause for that? for the panel that they want to ask that I did not get to? Oh wow, this front row is like, whoa, it's awesome. My plants are close.
So, actually a couple of questions for Elaine and Tommy. So first off, from what you said about marketing, without sharing your marketing tips, are you getting deals only through your own marketing, or are you getting wholesale deals out of the RNC community?
We do get deals from our own marketing, but we also have bird dogs. Okay, and bird dogs call us up and say, hey, I have a deal and we have to meet with them tonight. Well, we move our schedule around to go and make that happen. We'll have bird dogs that we work with on a regular basis.
I wish there was a magic marketing bullet too. We've gotten a couple deals from wholesalers. We drove around and found a house and called them. We got a deal like that. We use letters. We partnered on TV ads. We've gotten something from everything. So, like Shanoa talks about marketing, they all work. It's just a matter of just being consistent and keep going.
I'll ask a second question. So, for any of the marketing you're doing, or you get a phone number, right? You don't know anything about the deal yet. Do you have any tips about how to protect your own time? I mean, I know, from my own marketing that I wasted a ton of time going down to talk to non-motivated buyers. I never really discovered the trick. So do you have any tips on, how do you quickly, through an initial phone call, figure out, is this even worth spending any time, and is the guy really motivated?
I ask them, what makes you want to sell your house? And they say, I have a job in Albuquerque, I have to leave in 2 weeks. Or they say, well, I was just kind of wondering. That's not a motivated seller, if they're just kind of wondering how much they could get for their house. So you talk to them, we just chat. Ask them, when was the last time you updated your kitchen? Oh, have you ever updated your bathrooms? I want information about this. So you paid off your mortgage, right? Why? Because I want to know if they're behind on their mortgage. Or what's their situation? All you gave me was a phone number. So I found out they sort of maybe wanted to sell their house. So I have to talk to them. And in about 5 minutes, you can figure out if you want to talk to them anymore. Yeah. So, and then you'll talk to them more. And then if it still looks like something you really want to talk to them face to face, you want to talk to Mr. and Mrs. at the same appointment. Very important. Don't just go down there and talk to one of them.
I would say you have to re-engineer your question. I think you're asking the wrong question. I think you need a strategy for whatever comes up. And I have strategies, and I know you guys have strategies for whether there's 100% equity or whether there's no equity, right? Have a realtor on the power team. Go make the appointment, go build a relationship, and go refer it to somebody else. In the event you cannot make it work, have a buyer who will buy it for 85% of ARV minus repairs. Have someone who will take over payments on an AMPS deal. I mean, there's almost a way on every single deal that you can make it work. The problem is, and I know I know what you're looking for. You're looking for what we're all looking for, that 70% of ARV minus repair deal. But sometimes you may go a long time before you actually find one of those, right? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Yeah. So you've got to find other ways to make money on all of those other leads that come in. That's just, to me, the bottom line at the end of the day. Tommy, I'm going to let you answer that question too. Chris Seward. Hey, can you stand by the door to make sure you get the people signed up for the big live event as they're popping out? Thank you. Tommy, any other thoughts on that?
One thing that Phil talks about is by the time they call you, you have to be ready to do something with that lead because they're few and far between anyway. So we wasted a lot of time, I guess. I mean, we made, one of our greatest deals was we made $400 on a trailer house. I mean, who knows? We don't try to go to trailer houses now, but when we first started, we did. And then I don't think any of those trips are really a waste of time because we learned something on every single one of them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then I would say to Rich, partner with someone else. If you don't like the way it sounds, send somebody else out there for you, and I'll partner with you on it. Call me when you get there, and then let's talk. So maybe that's another way to help do that. Other questions? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I had a question for Alan. On your subject two, do you send a notice to the lender on the original loan to give them a period to say yes or no?
I don't do that. I don't, from a legal standpoint, it's called estoppel. There would be a stop for pursuing their rights because we've notified them they didn't take it. I don't think it's going to work at the end of the day. I kind of consider the documents that we're recording to be the written notice to the world, including the lender, so that might be a stretch of notice to the lender. But I've never had a problem with the way that I've done it. I've heard problems from putting that letter in, usually from smaller banks that actually is in there that knows what's going on with that letter. I've just never seen a problem the other way, so I don't.
I didn't fully understand what you were saying about the AJ instead.
Abstract of judgment. Abstract of judgment.
If someone gets a judgment against someone, they can go down and file the property records and the abstract of judgment. That abstract of judgment is a lien against all real estate. It's not going to distinguish between homestead versus investment property. The statute says that it's not an effective lien against the homestead, so therefore it should be removed by the folks. If you have yourself an individual who's real pissed off and they got their judgment and they want blood, you're not going to release that until someone educates them. You have to. And a lot of times you have some attorneys who don't understand the law either, and so you need to educate them.
Guys, we have, I'm sorry, I just regarding your first question. So we have a bank president on our panel. So, Eric, let's say that you made a loan to Rich. Let's say that Rich fell behind, and let's say that I came in and said, Rich, I'd love to help you out. Let me reinstate your loan. We get the payoff, we get a reinstatement. I'll reinstate it for you. And I'm going to start making the payments for you going forward. Deed's going to transfer to me. What does a bank president do who's sitting on this panel?
That's a tricky question. Because what I know about subject two is that maybe fill half the temple. My bank wouldn't do it. My bank would frown on it.
Your bank would frown on that. Would your bank go out and research every single, the deed history for every single borrower that they have on a yearly basis?
No. We would, the answer for most loans that are out there is that the bank would never know as long as you make the payments. So yeah, no, we don't go out and research. We're small enough that I know everybody, you know what you're doing.
So let's say that instead of the payments coming from Rich Siegmund, now they come from Shinoa Grove or Low Boston Homes. Would you notice that?
No one would ever tell me. I would never know.
Let's say, what else? What other questions? You never have a bank president on this. So you found out somehow that I took over his loan. What do you do, Eric?
We probably wouldn't care until interest rates went up a lot and it was a fixed rate loan, and I would look at the LTV on it and then I would say, I might want to own that house. If my money's out at whatever, 4.5 or 5 or 6 or whatever, and interest rates go up to 11, I'm going to want to redeploy that. So,
even if it's current?
If it's current, yeah, I want to redeploy my capital. Yeah.
How would I protect myself? Okay, that's a great question. So let's say that I buy this house from Rich, and I take over his loan, and I'm making payments very consistently. There are a couple of things that I do to make sure I'm protected. Number one, the deed's recorded. The deed's in my name. We did a closing. Alan did a wrap for me, and that deal is done. There are two things that I do. Number one, I make sure I change the address. I call up Eric, and I say, I don't talk to Eric, but I say, hey, I need to change the address to such my P.O. box. Okay. The other way that I deed the property to me is I'll deed it to Sigmund-1234 Main Street, LLC. So hopefully Eric doesn't really notice that I've done that. And what other thing? And then I'll let you talk. And the other thing is I make sure that my insurance policy names Rich as an additional insured, so that doesn't set off any additional. We're getting complex here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was it. In that scenario, I'll actually help Shona. The only time the bank's going to want that property back is if Shona actually sell it and make much more money. Because we aren't going to want that property back. We're going to take a loss on it.
Yeah, so he's going to threaten me, but so then I've got exit strategies from the threatening. So
Yeah.
I may go to another bank and say, hey, I need an emergency loan on this. I may take money out of my cash reserves and pay Eric off. I may sell the property. I may get a loan from a self-directed IRA. There are a lot of different things that I can do, and as long as I have a good amount of equity in there, I'm probably going to have a lot of chances of getting that done. And I'll probably be able to call Eric or talk to someone in the bank and say, hey, just give me a little bit of time to work this out. And Eric will probably say, that's fair, let me let you do that. Because it's going to cost Eric money to foreclose on me. And if I turn it into a homestead, ooh, boy. Yeah, he's gonna have a little bit of trouble doing that.
At the end of the day, we don't want to own the property.
Thank you. Who has other questions? Yeah. So the truth is, I'd probably say 98% of the loans, actually I don't know if that's true. I'd probably say 90% of the loans that are out there that I run into, maybe more are Wells Fargo, Chase, Citi, all these other banks. They don't have a clue.
The big banks are never going to know, and they're typically going to do it on conventional financing because you have a lower rate and whatnot. You take that out. Like we truly are a community bank in that we know who our borrowers are, what they're doing. Libertad Bank. Libertad? Yeah, it's on. Libertad. It originally started off. I'll say that. We're located on East Riverside Drive, but we'll be moving up next spring to 8100 Shoal Creek. Just wanted to go.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank all the panelists for all the information tonight. This is our first meeting here at the club. So I would like to ask about the internet has become a very valuable tool when it comes to finding a home. 6 months ago, I was looking for a house in Austin, and I used Truly, to find property. So I was more informed, when I came to my realtor. So my question is, how do you direct your marketing efforts into internet? Like probably being more visible in Google, search engines, or do you use any of that in your marketing efforts to be more visible on the internet? And what are your thoughts in using tools like Trulia or Zillow, which are websites that allow you to see the value of a piece of real estate? So,
when we're selling our property, we put it on REI Matcher, which is a product that Phil and Shanoa have, and it sends it out to all these websites. Okay, and we put it on Craigslist. And we put a sign out in front of it, which I want to tell you, that little cheapy sign in front brings a lot of phone calls. And that's my answer from my point of view. What do you do, Tommy?
I have my son do all my stuff because I couldn't do it. There's things like pay-per-click and all that stuff. We do that. We're not super great at it. I think since everybody does that, it's kind of hard to stand out. We do have a website, all that. The main thing is we try to push people to our website with our letters and things like that. Other people are probably better at it than I.
I'm saying that because I'm an online marketer, and I know how to place websites in the first page of Google, and that is becoming the real estate of the internet. to be on the first page of Google. That's real estate right now. And having a website that is highly visible. So I just wanna like, if you need some service, might be able to help you out as well.
I think I got your email 10 times this week. Yeah.
You keep talking about partnering with someone when you go find a deal.
No. Here we go.
Bring someone with you when you think you found a deal. Maybe you could expand on that. Like I'll find something and I think, oh my gosh, that's an awesome deal, but now what? How do I know who to call for that?
Okay, let me tell you what we do. You call me up and you say, I have a lead, I know this lady, she's my neighbor, and she really has to sell for whatever reason. And you're an inexperienced person. So we say, okay, do you have an appointment to go and see her? We ask all the particulars about the situation. Let's say we all agree we're going to go and meet with the homeowner, Mr. and Mrs. Okay, so we go to before the appointment, you don't go with Bill and me. You'll probably go with Bill because he's a super salesman, and because 3 people is too many to walk into somebody's house. So before we have the appointment, we meet at a coffee shop or wherever, McDonald's, and sit and talk about our strategy and make a contract between us as to how, if we get the deal, how we're going to split it up. Then we go to the appointment, do all the paperwork. Okay, so it's called papering it up. And then afterwards, we go back to a coffee shop and talk about what happened. So you can ask all your questions. How come you said that? Why did you do the paperwork like this? And all those questions that you have. It takes about half an hour to decompress afterwards. That's how we do it. And then in the follow-up, you get all of the emails. You're CC'd on all the emails. You take the paperwork to Ellen. Do you want to come? Come on over. Let me show you what we do. It means we take the paperwork over. Thank you very much. We give them $100 and we go away. They do their thing. But when we get emails, you're CC'd on everything so you know what's going on. Call us up. So we keep the communication going. When there's a close, come on to the closing. So you're every step of the way, you get your questions answered, and that's how you learn. Okay? You're very welcome.
Okay, when it comes to flipping, do you try to avoid houses that need permits to rehab them?
I'm sorry, so did you not hear the question? Or?
Something about permits.
Permits.
When it comes to flipping houses, do you try to avoid deals that would involve permits from the city?
Why don't you talk about permits?
Actually, I'm going to let Josh talk about permits.
Well, Lisa's laughing because she's actually one of my clients, and we're working on a big permit project for her right now. Yes, permits in the city of Austin are very difficult, but unfortunately most of the deals that are out there that are still deals are going to require permits. That's the truism with the market that we're in. So I've had permits take everything from 3 days to 6 weeks to get. And it's not just the permits, but it's the inspections. And so now with the inspections, we just transferred from 2006 IRC to 2012 IRC. The inspectors have no idea what they're doing. Not that they don't know what they're doing, but they just got a whole new bag of tricks to play. I have a project right now that I'm working on down south. We've had 4 different inspectors come by, not the same inspector, so we're working with that. And they've been bringing in inspectors from Fredericksburg and Johnson City. So it's not just the permit process, but it's also the inspection process. Would I avoid a project that requires? No, I wouldn't, because the reality of it is there are very few projects that don't require a permit at this stage in this market. Would I try to fudge and get around some projects that probably require permits? I'm going to plead the fifth on that, but I will say that if you find a contractor who is going to work with a project that needs to be permitted and won't pull a permit, be very wary because they don't have a high level of integrity, and that's going to be throughout their entire business. That answer this?
I always pull a permit. Every single time. Every single time I do a deal, I'm always pulling a permit. I cannot pull enough permits. That's just how it is. So I like to pull a permit when I'm going outside of the existing footprint of the property, meaning I'm adding square footage. I like to add a permit when I think I'm probably going to get red tagged if I don't. I like to add a permit if I'm doing so much work that I know the buyer's realtor will say, I looked for your permit online and I didn't see it, and I'm wondering, what do you have to prove that you did everything right? There are remedies if you do not pull a permit and you get a buyer's agent that sort of goes after you like that. Do you want to talk about engineer's reports? Kind of speaking of going on that route.
Yeah, you can always get an engineer's report in lieu of a permit. Not in lieu of a permit, but you can have an engineer's report. They're typically pretty inexpensive, depending on the engineers you're working with, and you can use that whenever you run into a real estate transaction. So that engineer report is going to act as kind of not an insurance policy, but at least a little bit of advice coming from an engineer to a prospective buyer. That has nothing to do with the city, though. So if you ever get red tagged, they can make you pull out everything that you've already done and still the cost of what your property was.
Guys, I'm gonna, can we get a big round of applause for our panel, please? I'm going to technically call the meeting, but I will let you guys network and talk to each of the panelists.